Hi everyone, my name is Kelsey and welcome to the Nightly Needle. Today I have a new pattern for you guys. So we're going to be using the Premier Bloom yarn. You'll need a pair of scissors, you'll need a metal yarn needle, and you will also need a 3.75 millimeter hook. And once you have all of those together, we are going to begin. So to start this tutorial, we're going to make a magic circle. So you're just going to take your yarn and wrap it around your fingers 3 times. And then you're going to take your hook, insert it underneath, pull that last loop that you made underneath the other 2 and draw it up. Gently take it off your fingers, and then you're going to chain 1. And that's going to seal the circle. So now what we're going to do is chain 2 more. So what we're going to do now is double crochet 16 in the center of the circle. The chain 3 will count as the first double crochet, so we're going to do 15 more. So you'll just yarn over, insert into the circle, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then you're going to just repeat that 14 times inside the circle. So now that we have all 16 of our double crochets, what I like to do to tighten the circle is to take my hook, insert it in the center, and then pull the tail. This just helps pull those middle loops evenly together, and once you get it small enough, you should be able to just pull the tail and they'll draw up together. Okay, so once you've gotten it tightened, you're just going to take your hook, and in the top of the chain 3 we made, you're just going to slip stitch join, and that's going to seal the circle. So now what we're going to do is work a round of increases. So you'll chain 3, and you'll double crochet into the next stitch, and then you're going to double crochet 2 into the next, and then in each stitch around you're going to continue working 2 double crochet. Now that we made it around, we're going to slip stitch join to that beginning chain 3. So in this next round we'll be working some front post double crochets. To start off with, we're going to chain 3. And that's going to count as our first stitch. It's going to be a double crochet. And around the next double crochet, we are going to work our front post. So you're just going to insert your hook behind the stitch, and you're going to drop a loop and double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet into the top of the next stitch. And then we're going to front post double crochet around the next. And we're just going to repeat that pattern all the way around, working a double crochet, then a front post, double crochet, then a front post. Alright, so now that we've worked all the way around, we're going to slip stitch join to that beginning chain 3 we made. Now this next round is going to be our increase round. So we're going to begin by chaining 3, then we're going to double crochet into the same stitch. And then we're going to front post around the front post. And then we are going to double crochet 2 into the top of the next double crochet. And then we will work a front post around the front post. So we're just going to repeat that all the way around, doing 2 double crochets in between, and then a front post double crochet around each front post. Next round we'll be working another increase, so we're going to chain 3. We're going to double crochet into the same stitch, and then we are going to double crochet into the next. Then we're going to front post around the front post. We're going to double crochet 2 into the next stitch. And then we're going to double crochet into the next. And then we're going to front post around the front post. We're just going to repeat that all the way around. So now that we made it all the way around, we're going to slip stitch join to the beginning chain 3. And now this round we are going to be putting in another front post double crochet. So to begin, we're going to chain 3. And then around the next stitch, we're going to front post. And then we will double crochet into the next. And then work our front post around the next stitch. Then double crochet in the next. Then we're going to put a front post around the next double crochet stitch. Then we're going to double crochet into the next. And then we're going to work our front post. So essentially what we're doing is we're working a double crochet, front post, double crochet, front post. We're going to continue that all the way around. So now that we finished that round, we're going to go ahead and just slip stitch join to our beginning chain 3. So this next round is just going to be a repeat of the previous round. We're going to chain 3. And then we are actually going to work a front post around the front post. Double crochet into the next. Front post around the front post, double crochet in the next, front post around the front post, double crochet around the next, and front post around the front post. And you're just going to keep repeating that all the way around. So for the next round, we are going to be doing another increase. So we're going to chain 3, and then we are going to double crochet into the same stitch, and then we are going to front post around the front post, and then we are going to double crochet 2 into the next stitch, and then we are going to work a front post around the front post. We're just going to continue doing that, working 2 double crochets into the top of the double crochet from the previous round, and of course working a front post around the front post. So you notice it's kind of ruffly right now, but that's going to get stretched out and pulled, so it's not going to be a ruffly edge there. So if you don't like ruffles, don't freak out. It's not going to stay for long. So the next few rounds, what we're going to be doing is just double crocheting and front posting around front posts. So to begin this one, we're going to chain 3. We're going to double crochet into the next, and then the next, and then the next. So you should have a total of 4 double crochets in that in-between space. And you're going to front post around the front post. And then we're going to double crochet in each double crochet again. And then front post around the front post. So we're also going to continue it for another 4 rounds. So just continue this until you hit your 12th round. So here we are at our last round. I'm just going to finish up this last front post double crochet and then slip stitch join to that beginning chain 3. And so the next few rounds are going to be just simple double crochet rounds. So to begin, we will just chain 3 and double crochet in the next. And we're going to continue this all the way around, including in the top of your front post double crochets. So we're going to do a total of 4 rounds of this. So this is starting the 13th round, so we should end at 16. So now that we made it all the way around, we're going to slip stitch join to that beginning chain 3 of that final round. And this next round is going to be pretty simple. Also, it's going to be a half double crochet round, so instead of chaining 3, we're going to chain 2 and then half double crochet into the next stitch and into each stitch after. And then we're going to slip stitch join to that beginning chain 2. And now this next round we're going to be working alternating stitches, but we're going to be doing different stitches than what we've previously done. So to start off, we're going to chain 4, and then we're going to double crochet into the same stitch. Now what we've created is our first V-stitch. So we're going to go ahead and skip the next stitch, and we're going to work what's called a bobble stitch into the next stitch. And so to do that, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, drop a loop, you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, leaving 2 on your hook. You're going to repeat that by yarning over, insert into the stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to continue doing that another 3 times. And then you should have 6 on your hook and 5 stitches in your previous stitch there. So now what we're going to do is yarn over and pull through all of them. And then we're going to chain 1 to seal it. So there's our bobble stitch. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to V-stitch in the stitch after. And to make this one, we're going to double crochet, chain 1, and then double crochet into the same stitch. And then again, we will skip the next stitch and work a bobble into the next one. So again, you'll yarn over, insert into the stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. You repeat that 4 more times. And again, you should have 6 loops on your hook and 5 in the stitch. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through all, chain 1. And then you'll skip 1 and do a V-stitch and so on until you reach the end. And since we started with a V-stitch, you should end with a bobble stitch and then a skip, and then we will slip stitch to that beginning V-stitch. Now that we made it all the way around, we're going to slip stitch join to that 3rd chain of the chain 4. Then to begin this round, we're going to slip stitch into the V-stitch. We're going to chain 4 and then double crochet into the chain 1 space of the V-stitch. Then you're going to chain 1, working in the top of the bobble stitch from the previous round. We're going to work a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the same. So we're basically just doing a round of V-stitches. So you'll chain 1, work your V-stitch into the middle of the previous V-stitch, chain 1, and then work a V-stitch into the top of the next bobble. We're just going to repeat that all the way around. Now that we finished that round, we're just going to slip stitch join to that 3rd chain of the chain 4. So now that we've come to the end, we're going to slip stitch join to that 3rd chain of the chain 4. And the next 9 rows, we're going to be working the V-stitch. So to start this one, we're just going to slip stitch into the center of that first V-stitch chain 4, double crochet in the V, chain 1, and then we're going to work a V-stitch into the V-stitch. Chain 1, and then work into the V-stitch. I'm just going to continue this for the next 9 rounds, and then we'll slip stitch join to the beginning chain 4. Now that we've made it all the way around, we're going to slip stitch into that third chain of the chain 4 from the beginning. So this next round is going to be another bobble round, except for this time we're going to increase the level of the bobble. So instead of doing 5 stitches in, we're going to do 7. So to start off, we're going to slip stitch into the middle of the V. And then we are going to make the first bobble stitch. So we're not going to chain anything, we're just going to immediately start working into the middle of the V and drop our loops. So we have 7 loops in the center, and then we have 8 loops on our hook. You're just going to yarn over and pull through all of them, chain 1 just like we did before. So it's going to be a slightly bigger bobble, and then we are going to make a double crochet into the chain space between the 2 V stitches. So in between the bobble stitch we just made and the next V stitch, you're going to put a double crochet, and then you're going to chain 1, and then we are going to work another bobble into the next V. So again, 7 stitches in the stitch and 8 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all, chain 1 to seal, and then we're going to double crochet into the middle chain space, chain 1, and then bobble into the next V stitch. We're just going to repeat that all the way around, and we will slip stitch join to that beginning bobble stitch, and since we did begin with a bobble stitch, you should end with a double crochet. Alright, now that we've worked all the way around, we're going to slip stitch join to this first chain here, right next to the bobble. And we're going to chain 3 to start our round, and we're going to be double crocheting into the top of the bobble. You'll notice there's that small little chain 1 there, and that's what we're going to work our first double crochet into. Then the next double crochet will be in the double crochet from the previous round. Then we're going to work in this first connecting stitch here that connects the double crochet and the bobble. And then again into the top of the bobble and into the double crochet of the bobble. So you're just going to keep double crocheting in each of those spaces all the way around. Alright, so we made it all the way around. Now we're going to slip stitch join to that chain 3 we made in the beginning. And this next round is going to get a little bit trickier. We are going to be working kind of points. So to start that out, we're going to chain 3. And then we are going to double crochet into the next 23 stitches. So now we have a total of 24 double crochets whilst counting that first chain 3. Now we have a total of 24, counting that chain 3 is our first double crochet. And now we're going to skip the next stitch, and we are going to work a shell into the stitch after. So a shell is 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into the same stitch. and that's going to give us our first shell. So now we're going to skip the next stitch, and we are going to double crochet into the next 24 stitches. So now that we have our 24 double crochets, again we're going to skip the next stitch and begin working a shell in the stitch after. So again, you'll double crochet 3, chain 2, and then you'll double crochet 3 again into the same stitch. You'll skip the next stitch, and then you will work your double crochet starting in the stitch after. So again, you're going to go all the way around repeating the same pattern, doing 24 double crochets, skip 1, shell, skip 1, 24 double crochets. When you're working on the last lap or the last end there, you'll notice that you won't have quite enough double crochets, so you need to add 3 double crochets into your stitch line. And I will work all the way around and stop at that point and show you guys what I'm talking about. So here we are at the last lap. So I've managed to make 19 stitches, and I stopped about 5 stitches to the edge to show you guys what I mean by adding more stitches in. So we need to get to 24 to make it even around. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another double crochet into this 19th stitch here that I double crocheted in. Then we're going to put 2 double crochets in the next one, and then 2 double crochets into the next. So that's going to get us at 24 stitches while still allowing us to make that final corner there, or that final point. So we're going to skip the next one, and then we're going to shell into the next. Then we're going to skip that final stitch, and then we are going to slip stitch join to the beginning of our chain 3. So now we have all of our points. In this next round, we're going to be working what's called a Picot, and that is just a more extended point, usually with like a little knot on the end of it. Now to start that, we're going to chain 3. So we'll double crochet until we reach the corner. That's going to include the 3 double crochets on the side of the shell. And we should actually be ready to work in that center chain 2 space. So now we've double crocheted all the way down to the edge, including those 3 double crochets into the shell. So now we're ready to work into that chain 2 space. So we're going to make the Picot. So to start that, we're going to double crochet 3. And then we're going to chain 3. And then we are going to slip stitch join into the top of that stitch we started out of. And you're going to kind of pull your tension tight just to make that little knot at the end. And then we're going to double crochet 3 into the same chain 2 space. So basically it's going to be a shell with a little point at the tip there. And then we are going to work double crochets into each stitch all the way down until we get to the next corner. Now here we are at the end again and ready to work in that chain 2 space of the shell. And I'm just going to show you the Picot one more time. So you're going to double crochet 3. And then you're going to chain 3. And you're going to slip stitch join into the top of that stitch we worked out of. You're going to pull tight to make a little knot. And then we're going to double crochet 3 into the same chain 2 space. And there you have it. There is our second Picot, basically a shell with a little loop on top. And then you're just going to double crochet all the way down to the next corner, and you're just going to repeat that all the way around, and then you'll slip stitch join to that beginning chain 3. Alright, here we are at the end. We have finished our last Picot, and we had 3 double crochets after that, and then we're going to slip stitch join to that beginning chain 3. And then we are going to fasten off our work. So guys, here's our finished project. Turned out super well, super cute. I love how the Premier Bloom rings kind of, how they're not quite connected all the way, but there's like an intersecting ring at different points as we go further out, which is really cute. We got a lot of fun stitches mixed in there as well. This would be great. This is a baby blanket pattern. Use this as a mandala rug, or even maybe a wall hanging would be really cute. And if you wanted to make like a full adult size blanket, you definitely could do that as well. Just by continuing the V-stitch here and then doing your Picot and all that stuff afterwards. But yeah, I love the way this turned out. It's a good size crib blanket, I think, or maybe a bassinet blanket. Be cute, as a play mat for a baby to lay on, or just something for them to snuggle with. It's really soft and lightweight, perfect for spring, so it's not super heavy and bulky, and can be easily, packed up. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I certainly enjoyed making it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on social media. I have Facebook, Instagram, and a Pinterest. I also have a Twitter, but I don't use it very often, so don't worry about it. And I've also linked my shop below because I'm going to be putting these up for purchase here pretty soon. So I hope you guys had a great day. Enjoy!